Hi there, and thank you for taking the next couple minutes to listen in on my Denver Metro Housing Market Report. The goal of the next handful of minutes is really just to convey and communicate facts about our local market and just kind of call out. I know if I was a home buyer right now and I was just relying on the information being communicated via news or media outlets, I don't think I would be considering buying a home right now. And so instead, I want to communicate the truth. I want to communicate what's really happening in our local market. And I want to share the opportunities that I'm helping buyers get into at this time. So I hope you enjoy this information. So a lot of people are asking, is now the right time for me to buy? And the answer isn't the same for everybody. For some it is, for some it's not. And the only way you can make the best decision is by being informed and knowing what's happening in our market. So I want to call out some common fears that we're seeing in the market. I know there are a lot of home buyers right now that are afraid about the economic uncertainty. Some fear that there's going to be a market crash. Affordability is tough for some. Um, with all of that information, we are seeing lots of opportunity right now. There's less competition in the market, and and what we know is that fear and uncertainty actually offers opportunities because it gives us more negotiating power. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we're seeing those and some examples of that. So, this is a quick glimpse of some facts about why I'm so passionate about everybody owning real estate. Nationally, on average, we see that homeowners have about a little over $300,000 in equity. Just in the last decade, we've seen on average homeowners accumulate over $200,000 in wealth just from appreciation. So this is why I advocate having real estate and holding it over long periods of time because you'll see results like this. This chart shows what home prices have done since 2019, pre-pandemic. We saw, you can see here in 2021, we saw a massive peak in home prices. And of course, that was because interest rates were so low, so many people could come out and afford purchasing a home. We saw interest rates go up to equalize the market. And so you can see down here in the 2023 year, we saw that home prices started to take a slight dip just to balance out the market and do, what it needed to do. Here is a graph with predictions from Fannie Mae Price Index, letting us know what the expected cumulative home price would be over the next 4 years from 2025 to 2029. And experts are predicting that home prices will continue to increase on average about 15.3%. So good investment. This is a glimpse of our greater metro Denver statistics. This here shows the supply. So right now we have about 12,000 units for sale in Denver metro. This is about the same as pre-pandemic numbers. So just to give you a little bit of context, we saw about 2,500 units for sale during the pandemic. So you can see we have significantly more inventory. But again, this is what we like to see during a balanced market. We had 4,800 new listings come to market in September. Now, of those new listings, we see that 3,485 of them did go under contract, which tells us that our buyer demand is even in a higher interest rate climate is still thriving. So just imagine what will happen when we see a slight dip in the interest rates. We'll see affordability increase and we'll see more competition come out into the market. I like this quote by Jacob Channel, senior economist from LendingTree. He says, timing the market's basically impossible. If you're always waiting for perfect market conditions, you're going to be waiting forever. Buy now, only if it's a good idea for you. When I got into real estate, I heard this phrase that I'm reminded about all the time. It's, when is the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. And I think real estate, like a growing tree or a growing asset over time. Now, people are worrying about an upcoming recession. Nearly 2 in 3 Americans think a recession's coming. And we know that 74% of Americans admit that world news or current events affect their financial decisions. But what I want to shine light on is that every downturn in the market ends in recovery. And here are lessons from the last 5 decades about our recoveries. So the red arrows on this graph identify a downturn in the market where we see a temporary dip in prices, yet you'll see that the prices continue to increase over time, reminding us that holding real estate over time is one of the best financial investments that you can make for yourself. And let me ask you a serious question. Have you ever met a homeowner that said that buying their home was or ended up being a terrible investment? I've never met a person. Let's go on to recessionary periods. So, a lot of people have the idea that home prices fall during recessionary periods, but what we know is that there's not much of a connection of home prices and recessionary periods. So, here's what we see. A recession does not mean falling prices. You can see in the last 6 recessionary periods, prices increased 4 of the 6 times. There in 1991, it was a slight decrease of 1.9%. And then 2008 saw 19%, only because that was a financial crisis, not only housing. But a recession, what it does mean is that we see a reduction in mortgage rates. So every recession, we've seen the mortgage rates go down. So you might ask yourself, well, why not wait till a recession hits? Well, when interest rates go down, we're going to see more buyers come into the market. And so prices will go up and competition will then increase. Here's a graphic that illustrates what happens with buyer demand once we see rates start to go down. So you can see here at this point, once we see 6.5% interest and lower, we start to see really good buyer demand happen. And then mortgage rates are projected to be in the 5.9 to 6.4% range all throughout 2026. All right, so what are some of the opportunities we're seeing some of our buyers have right now in the current market? So we're seeing alternative financing options, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. One is a mortgage buy down, and two is an adjustable rate mortgage. So a mortgage buy down is when you pay an upfront fee in exchange for a lower mortgage interest rate. What we're seeing right now is a lot of sellers are actually contributing thousands of dollars so that you're able to buy down your rate. Now, there's an option to buy down your rate temporarily, or there's an option to buy it down permanently. And that is a conversation to have with a mortgage expert to know what's in your best interest and which path is best for you. Now, an ARM or adjustable rate mortgage is a loan with an interest rate that can change periodically after the start of your loan. And again, there's not a one size fits all for everybody. So it's good to have a conversation with a mortgage expert to see what your options would be. So this is what I want for you. This is why I'm passionate about you getting into real estate and purchasing real estate. You can see here that 68.3% of Americans have either paid off their mortgage or have at least 50% equity in their homes. Like, that is game changing money. And that's really what I want for you. All right, so that concludes my presentation. I wanted it to be quick, to the point, and just give you, direct information. If you still have questions or curiosities about any of the information I shared, I want to continue the conversation with you. Let's get on, on a Zoom call. Let's have a conversation and just look and see what your potential options could be right now for the opportunities available in this market. All right. Thanks again for listening, and I hope to hear from you soon.